Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Wellness Foreplay Podcast. We are Dr. Gandhi and Marcy Nettles.
Hi, guys.
We are your hosts, and we are super excited to be sharing this show with you today. It's going to be a very emotional one, probably tear-jerking. It definitely hits close to home, but it's a very important topic that not a lot of people know about, but everyone should know about. So be prepared to share this episode, and we're so glad that you're here with us.
Yeah, that's what these episodes are all about, is creating awareness, giving you the information that you need to help empower you. So for me, I'm actually a former police detective. And
I'm a former family wellness chiropractor.
And we've decided that bringing our expertises together to do those investigations that are so needed, to find the knowledge that we know is the foreplay to your optimal wellness.
Yes.
So are you in the mood? We hope so, because we've got a great episode for you today. So episode 22, as Dondi said, is going to be more emotional because it's very personal. So this episode is B.I.I, what every woman with implants or considering them must know. Okay. The way we do our episodes is we always have one topic, and then we choose 4 questions to answer during the episode. So the questions that we've got for today about B.I.I is, number 1, what is B.I.I? Number 2, what are the symptoms of B.I.I and potential misdiagnoses that can be made? Number 3 is, why are we talking about B.I.I? And then the 4th question today is going to be, what's next? Okay, so please, guys, as we go through this, please feel free to share this information. Most of this is going to be very personal. It's going to be my personal story that we're going to be sharing with you. And so feel free to open up this information to anybody that's part of your network that falls within the category of having breast implants, considering breast implants, or maybe you're a guy that likes breast implants. I don't know.
Or likes big boobs.
Yeah.
Let's just be real.
Yeah, seriously, because it really does affect every single one of us. So please share this out. And we appreciate you for doing that. And by the way, we're live right now on 3 different platforms on Facebook, as well as we'll be uploading the video to YouTube and also to our podcast, Wellness Foreplay, on all the different platforms. So thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you so very much. So are you ready to get into today's episode? So what is B.I.I? And I'm going to let you go into the details of this, the nitty gritties. You're going to need this one too, because there's a lot of details here. Most people have no clue.
Yeah. And well, we didn't. I mean, 2 months ago, we had no clue what B.I.I was. And when B.I.I stands for breast implant illness. And when you get the full version of breast implant illness, you can start to kind of formulate an idea of what it is. But we were literally totally clueless about this scenario, this very real, misunderstood, controversial, flat out denied by some people, plastic surgeons and doctors specifically, and people that are very aware of what's happening, but it is breast implant illness is what B.I.I stands for. And I want to share with you something we found online, and just kind of further describe it, is that breast implant illness is a term that some women and doctors use to refer to a wide range of symptoms that can develop after undergoing reconstruction or cosmetic augmentation with breast implants. It is also sometimes referred to as autoimmune inflammatory syndrome induced by adjuvants. I've never heard it referred to that. Most people in the B.I.I community do not use that other definition, but it's there nonetheless. B.I.I can occur with any type of breast implants, including silicone gel-filled, saline-filled, smooth surface, textured surface, round, or teardrop shape. Now, I want to stop there because one of the misnomers, and silicone has been a thing that has caused illness for quite some time. It's why the breast implants were changed from silicone to saline in the first place. But if you think about it, why was silicone becoming a problem? It's when the breast implants ruptured. Breast implants, it's hard to say that fast. When the breast implants ruptured, silicone would leach into the body, and silicone is very toxic. So they figured if the breast implant ruptures in its saline solution, it would be generally healthy. And it wasn't a flawed idea because we are saline solution, literally. The problem is, what if it doesn't rupture? The casing that encloses the saline implant is also silicone.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And you want to know, there's 37 ingredients or 37 things that go into making the capsule, or just consider it like the bag that the saline solution is in, or the bag that the silicone gel is in. If they've been in there for a long time, I mean, some of the women who had silicone breast implants still have them.
Yeah.
But let's talk about just the outer layer, because it applies to both groups. What's in them? First of all, methyl ethyl ketone, which is a neurotoxin. Neurotoxin means toxic to the brain. Cyclohexanone, another neurotoxin. Isopropyl alcohol, it's that stuff that's in the white bottle that's in the cosmetic section or in the first aid section of all your grocery stores and drug stores. It's alcohol, rubbing alcohol. Denatured alcohol. Acetone, which is a chemical, it's an industrial solvent. It's also a neurotoxin. Urethane, which is what they make skateboard wheels out of, and a lot of other things. Polyvinyl chloride, another neurotoxin. Amine, toluene. Toluene is not only a neurotoxin, it is a carcinogenic, causes cancer. Dichloromethane, another carcinogen. Chloromethane, ethyl acetate, another neurotoxin. Silicone, sodium fluoride, lead-based solder. Formaldehyde. You know what they use formaldehyde with? To embalm people. Talcum powder, oakite, which is a cleaning solvent. Methyl 2-cyanochrolites. Ethylene oxide, another carcinogen. Xylene, another neurotoxin. Hexon, 2-hexanone. Thixon OSN2, stearic acid, zinc oxide. Naphtha, which is a rubber solvent. Phenol, another neurotoxin. Benzene, another carcinogen and another neurotoxin. Lacquer thinner, epoxy resin, epoxy hardener 10 and epoxy hardener 11. Printing ink for the serial numbers on the outside of the bag. Metal cleaning acid, color pigments or release agents, heavy metals such as aluminum, tin, lead, and platinum, and lastly, silica. Those are just the ingredients that go into the bag that holds the saline solution or the silicone gel. So it's pretty toxic stuff.
Yeah, so it was really advertised big time how dangerous silicone breast implants were, right? So silicone breast implants actually for a time period were off the market. People were not using them. They went to saline implants saying that those were safe, but they never told people that the shell of the implant is made of silicone. I didn't know that until recently, guys. I mean, what else would it be made of? But all of that stuff is inside of the shell of the implants of something that people were made to think were safe, okay? Now, we also want you to know that B.I.I. or breast implant illness is not currently recognized as an official medical diagnosis, and there is no diagnosis code for it. It's poorly understood and hasn't been studied as much as a unique condition. And so there's a lot of women out there that are suffering from different things that we're going to be sharing with you here in just a moment, that are being told that it's all in your mind. No, there's nothing wrong. They've had their breast implants checked and they're intact. They're not leaking. There's not an issue. So these problems that you're having have got to be something else, or it's just all in your mind. And we just want you to know that this is an awareness episode, and what we're telling you is absolutely true information. And there's women out there that are suffering and they need to know about this.
Before you go any further, as a former healthcare provider, I want to talk about the importance of having there not be a diagnosis code and having it not be recognized as an illness, which means when a patient comes in with symptoms, if there is no diagnosis and there's no code for it, the doctors have to call it something else. So what is literally breast implant illness is being called something else that has similar symptoms because there's no code for it. There's no diagnosis for it. That is a major problem. And hopefully, thank you, FDA, hopefully they're going to do what they said they're going to do and make this an official medical condition so that you can charge codes for it. So there's going to be a paper trail starting somewhere, because it's a big deal when there's a code or there's no diagnosis. You have to call it something else, which is what doctors are doing now, which is also why they're denying its existence.
Yeah, because of liability issues.
Yes.
So another thing about implants, so just think about it this way. Implants are big objects that are placed inside of a body.
Foreign objects.
Foreign objects, and our body actively goes to war. Our immune system goes to war against these things that have been placed inside of the body. So picture this in your mind. Every single one of us have experienced getting a sliver, a wood or a metal sliver at some point in our lives, right, guys? And so this wood or metal sliver that got inside of your skin somehow, all of a sudden it got red, it got inflamed, and it was painful, right? And a lot of times it'll even get a little bit of pus around there because it's your immune system that's fighting against it. And it's trying to protect the rest of your body from that foreign invader. Now, what your body does through the immune system is it then works to push that sliver out because it went in, there's an opening there, it goes to push it back out. And so most of the time, our body can evict that sliver effectively just by going to work against it. Now, think about these implants. These implants are actually put into places in your body and sealed up to where our immune system does exactly what it's supposed to do. It goes to battle. It goes to war against these foreign bodies that are inside of us. But there's no opening for them to be able to force it out. And so what ends up happening is a shell starts to be created, a capsule around the implant of scar tissue, right? So instead of, because our body can't get it out, it's trying to protect the rest of our body from this foreign invader. And that creates a whole nother problem because now you've got this toxic shell or implant, and then you've got the capsule that's being formed by our body with scar tissue around it trying to protect our body. But then there's also that void in between the two. And so all kinds of infection can happen in there, all kinds of grossness can build and develop and grow inside of there that's creating even more toxicity than what's actually part of the implant. And it starts to create a lot of problems. So I want you to share, if you wouldn't mind. We're going to move into question number 2 now that we've gone into what breast implant illness is. And so now I hope that you're starting to get an idea about how important this topic is. And so if you had a hesitation before to really share out this, especially because the topic says breasts in it, now you know how important it is. Please, please share this out with any woman that's got breast implants, any woman considering that, maybe even young girls that have talked about it. This is such an important thing because this is not just about women that are suffering from breast implant illness, but it's about preventing decisions being made that can lead to this. Because, you know, it's interesting because I think that in that first part that we read here, is that it affects everybody differently.
It does.
And I think we're going to talk about it actually here in just a moment. But for some women, it happens right away, right? As soon as they get their implants, it happens right away. And then other women, it can be decades later. Literally. That they start to have these horrible results and symptoms because of having breast implants. So question number 2 is, what are the symptoms of BII and potential misdiagnosis that can be made? So do you want to go ahead and go over the symptoms that are there?
So keep in mind, there's no code for this. There's no medical diagnosis of breast implant illness. So listen to these symptoms and ask yourself, or do we understand how it can be misdiagnosed? So here are the symptoms of breast implant illness: joint and muscle pain, chronic fatigue, memory and concentration problems, breathing problems, sleep disturbance, rash and skin problems, dry mouth, dry eyes, anxiety, depression, headaches, hair loss, gastrointestinal problems, in other words, your digestive system, and more. Those are just some of the ones that are the most common. But think about how, if you come in with some of those, what a doctor would call it something else, not asking the question even necessarily, do you by chance have breast implants? With all of these symptoms, might you have breast implants? It's not even a question that most doctors are asking, because most doctors, I'm a doctor, I was not aware of this until recently. So if there is a such thing as being unaware or being ignorant of a problem, It's something altogether different when you know about it and you deny its existence. And that's also going on for liability reasons. But any of those symptoms, if you're having them and you have breast implants and you've been frustrated with going to the doctor, getting treatment solutions, and they're not working for you, keep your options open and maybe start having the conversation with your doctor about the possibility that this could be breast implant illness and likely may have been the whole time.
Yeah. And when you think about all of those symptoms and what some women, when they go in to see their doctors, because they're all symptoms of having what is now known as autoimmune diseases, right? And there's so many different kinds of autoimmune diseases that women are being diagnosed with. And just think, some of those diagnoses could potentially just be symptoms of breast implant illness. Yeah, this whole conversation is going to be really interesting. I know it's been very interesting for us as we've been educating ourselves and learning more and becoming more aware, and then decisions that we've been making because of becoming more knowledgeable, being empowered to make those decisions. And again, that's what these episodes are all about. So on here, you know, a lot of the symptoms of BII are associated with autoimmune and connective tissue disorders, such as lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and scleroderma. Some people who have BII also get diagnosed with a specific autoimmune or connective tissue disorder, but many do not.
Most.
Yeah. So there's many women out there that are experiencing a lot of these symptoms, but they have not ever been diagnosed. So now I want to move into question number 3. And question number 3 is, so why are we talking about BII? Why, right? I mean, is this really a topic for a podcast? Is this a topic that people want to know about? Well, guys, I got to let you know that this is a topic that we knew nothing about 60 days ago. Right. This is a topic that has become very central.
You can do this. It's hit our home pretty hard because it was, like I said, it's like I try to keep abreast of a lot of things that are going abreast. That was a Freudian slip, but it actually worked.
But there. Thank you.
I try to stay abreast of the most up-to-date information on many health topics because it's important. It's my former wheelhouse and it's something I'm still concerned about and directly involved in. And breast implant illness was not something that was on my radar at all. Had never heard of it, had never even heard of breast implant illness or BII until Marcy asked me about it, having come out of a clubhouse room about 2 months ago. Yeah. And then when you do research, there is so much information out there. There is an abundance or a plethora.
I'm almost like, why didn't I know about this? Why didn't I know sooner?
Well, you didn't know to look.
No, I didn't. And that's the thing, guys, is that there's hundreds of thousands of women out there, if not even more than that, that have already been through the process of identifying BII as being the source of their symptoms. And they've taken measures to move towards recovery. So for me personally, I've been experiencing a lot of those symptoms for years now, but because of incidents in my life, I was like attributing those symptoms to something I had already gone through, right? Like some of those things would be, I've been in some car accidents, one that was pretty serious. I've had brain injuries and concussions. I've had spine surgeries. I was completely put under with anesthesia 5 times in a 4-month time period. I've been on pain medications. I've been on antidepressants, anxiety medications before, and I turned 50. So all of these symptoms, you know, I was kind of, no, it's because of this. It's because of that. It's because of this, right? And trying to figure out things that I could do to circumvent the things that I was going through because of an incident that happened in my life. I mean, things like diet and exercise and sleep, even heavy metal detoxes, having a positive mindset and biohacking synergy. Guys, we've talked a lot about biohacking and the synergy that comes from activating your body. You know, I've done all of these things. All of these things have been part of my daily for over, for years, 10 years now. Yeah. Okay. And I know that it's all of those things that have kept me as a highly functional person. Most people, many of you that are on here right now and listening and watching, would say, what is she talking about? I've never seen her have any of those things. Guys, the way we show up is the way we decide to show up. It's not necessarily how we're feeling, right? If we let our feelings and our emotions run us all the time, most of us would never even get out of bed, right? So just know that even with me doing all of those things, I still have a massive list of current symptoms. And I'm actually going to let you read it, because
Yeah,
if
and
not, then I will.
I want to comment from the husband's perspective, because I've been on this journey all the time for the duration of this journey with Marcy, and going to see multiple doctors and specialists and medical doctors, holistic doctors, naturopathic doctors, and all of them are relating around the symptoms that I'm going to read to you. And most recently, within the last 10 months, we saw a couple doctors about the pain she was having in her left breast, thinking, could the implant possibly have been ruptured and leaking out? And even with that, and here's another thing, when you go, when I accompany Marcy with all of these appointments, and having me being a doctor, I can ask doctorly like questions of the doctor that Marcy might not think to ask. And I didn't know about B.I.I. And so I wasn't asking questions about B.I.I. Could this be B.I.I.? But we were definitely talking about and asking the question, could her implant possibly have ruptured? And it was determined that it did not rupture. But even with that as the question,
an ultrasound,
it did not stimulate the thought process in the doctor, could this be breast implant illness? Because I guarantee you those doctors were ignorant about this phenomena, or about this really very real thing along with us. So not faulting any doctors that we had been to, I guarantee you they're just ignorant. But that is why this needs to be talked about. But these are some of the symptoms that Marcy has been having. So fatigue, brain fog, memory loss, mostly short-term, but some long-term as well, cognitive issues, muscle pain, weakness, joint pain, neck, back pain. And as a chiropractor, I am able to help her with those. Hand, feet, and shoulder pain, weight problems, so weight gain, feeling bloated, inflammation, poor sleep, dry eyes, with a decline in vision, low libido, headaches, ringing in the ears, metallic taste in her mouth, dry mouth, mouth sores, sudden food intolerances. Just
this
recently,
is a bummer.
I mean, we eat, every time we go to a movie, we have popcorn, and we have popcorn that it cooked in coconut oil as a healthy snack at least once or twice a month, and never had a problem. Just within the last 3 times Marcy's eaten popcorn, her body is like intolerant of popcorn. So this is new. Bouts of dehydration for no reason. And Marcy drinks a ton of water, almost as much as a fish.
Not quite.
Numbness and tingling in her left arm, cold and discolored feet and hands, called Raynaud's phenomenon. And not only when it's cold outside. Pain and burning around her left breast and in the underarm, depression, anxiety. I mean, with that, who wouldn't have that? Depression and anxiety. Mood swings, a tickle in her throat when she had just fits of coughing, hair loss, dry hair, tingling and burning down the left side of her face, shoulder, and arm. And those are just the ones that she can think of. And all of this, she still shows up amazingly. And Marcy has the most crazy pain tolerance. I can't even understand it, because I can sense something is awry. I can sense there's something. And I ask her constantly, are you okay? Are you okay? What's going on? And up until recently, it's been kind of a mystery for me too, because a lot of times she just minimizes it because there aren't any answers out there. So when there's no answers, there's no hope. And that's one of the things that's frustrating for me too, being on this journey with her, is not knowing how to remedy what the most important human being in my life is going through, and not even knowing where to begin. Trying everything that we've gone through is, well, let's try this, let's try this, let's try this, and still no answers, but still I can see that it's affecting her. I can see, and she's a trooper, but sometimes I just have to break it down and say, look, you've got to tell me what's going on so that I can do my best to help you. And we both end up scratching our heads. That was until about 2 months ago when she heard about breast implant illness for the first time. There's so many things that are becoming clear that we're just, and major decisions have been made already. And Marcy will share those with you.
So You know, you guys all know we're absolutely God people. We love God, we love Jesus, and we know that when we are in need, we can go and we can talk to him through prayer.
Yeah.
And so I have been praying and praying and praying, and I know Don D has as well. And as a couple, we pray all of the time.
Every day,
And
multiple times.
thanks to those prayers, I know God answered my prayers, because there is no reason why I would have hopped into a clubhouse room about breast implant illness. I had no idea what it was, but I happened to find myself in a clubhouse room about breast implant illness. And this was not just a bunch of women, you know, whining about symptoms. This was a room that had all kinds of amazing doctors and specialists in it. It had women in there that had already gone through the journey of breast implant illness, that were sharing their stories, their experiences, and just praying for people and lifting them up and just being there for them. And so I know that it was an answer to my prayers that led me to that room on a Wednesday night. And I was in there for a couple hours, guys, just sitting there, because as I was listening to these stories and I was hearing what the women had gone through, and hearing the doctors, even doctors asking questions. Like there was a doctor in there that asked a question of the other doctors, and some of these women is like, my mother has implants. How do I bring this subject up to her? Because the thing is that we as women, we look at our bodies, and it's important to us to be feminine. It's important to us to think that we are attractive, and that especially, I mean, with our spouses, right? And so I heard these questions, and I heard these women sharing their stories, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. Oh my gosh, that sounds like me. Oh my gosh, that sounds like me. Oh my gosh, is this what it is? And so after I had been in that room for a couple of hours, I asked Don D about it. And I'm like, what do you think about this? And at first, his thought process was resorting. We always resort back to what we know, right? We resort back to what we know. And in his practice and in his time as a doctor, he had never come across breast implant illness, and he didn't know anything about it. And so his first response was, well, I think we need to try this first. I think we need to think about this first. And I think that, you know, that it could be something, you know, this, I don't know about this breast implant illness stuff, but it was because he didn't know about it, right? And that's why we're sharing this now, is we're actually sharing both of our stories and our experiences here. How did you feel when I first mentioned it to you?
Well, as I'm recalling that experience, I was thinking, well, let's just go do because first of all, she was talking about is, I mean, I had never heard of breast implant illness, but when she was sharing with me in that question is that, how would you feel if I had my implants taken out? That's a major surgery. Forget about the aesthetics. It's a major surgery that they're going to have to completely put my wife on a general anesthesia. I was more concerned about that, but here's to Marcy's point about defaulting back to what we know. I said, well, let's just do this and this. And I was saying things that we've already done
over and over
again. And that's the definition of insanity, if you know what I mean. And then I started thinking about it. And then the question, I started getting on board with what she was talking about. I know this was hard for her to ask the question, but she says, what would you think of me if I had them taken out? And that was, I know how hard that was for you to ask, because what not knowing what my answer would be, but I could give a crap about what her boobs look like. I care more about what her health is. So it was an instantaneous, let's explore this. And as the more and more we dove into this, the more research we started doing, and the more cases, we're talking hundreds of thousands of cases of women, hundreds of thousands of stories of doctors that are doing this real situation. And the thing that got me mad is the more research we were doing, we saw that there was other doctors that were saying, no, it's all in your head. There's no such thing. Breast implants are 100% safe. That's when I started to get mad, because if you find resistance, you know you're over the target. And that's when I was like, no, we have to do this. We started interviewing doctors and found the one that we're going to have this. And I don't want to get too far ahead and let you sharing your story, but it was something that I was absolutely on board, but I did have to educate myself, because it was something I was completely foreign about, or it was foreign to me. but I'm more husband first in my research, doctor second, asking the right questions to make up the decision. And if for the both of us, yes, this is an absolute go. There is no questions. There's no other option. We have to do this.
So when his first response though was, I don't know about that. We just need to do more of what we've already been doing, right? As he mentioned. But then it's like, for me, in my gut was like, but you've been doing that. And if you don't remove what's poisoning you, how are you going to heal?
Yeah.
So the next thing that I was led to through this Facebook or through this Clubhouse room was an amazing Facebook group that has over 140,000 women in
only.
it that have, they don't accept men. They don't accept men. They don't accept doctors, nothing. It's women only that have either already gotten implants, that are experiencing BII, or are considering implants. And so it's an education, it's an awareness, it's a support group for women that are in this circumstance. And through this group, I found and was introduced to an amazing The Heal Is Real website that has been such a great educator for me and resource, doctors lists, how to detox after, all these different things. And so as soon as the ball started rolling, God just provided resource after resource after resource, including two of my amazing friends that I just adore and respect and love. I had the opportunity to go on a hike with them. And when I was getting ready to meet up with them, God reminded me, you saw her name in one of those breast implant illness Facebook pages. And so I asked her about it, and she shared her story with me, and that she had gone through it, and that she had had her breast implants removed, and that some of the symptoms that she had been having were almost identical to what I'm experiencing, but as soon as she had them removed, they were gone.
Within 24 hours.
Within 24 hours. And that her daughter ended up going through and having this procedure done as well. And she had been diagnosed with Lyme's disease. And all of a sudden that diagnosis disappeared. That doesn't just happen, guys. Lyme's doesn't just go away. But removing the toxic sacs inside of her body removed the diagnosis. And I've heard of others. I've heard of a lupus diagnosis that went away. I've heard of so many different things. And so all of a sudden, because of who I am, I start thinking of all the people that I know and care about. Well, my very best friend, when I got my implants, we went in and we basically did it together with another girl. We got a 3 for. We got 3 for almost the price of 1. It was a great deal. So we thought, right? And she has been suffering for decades with horrific illnesses, even to the point of blood transfusions on a monthly basis. So guys, this is a real thing. This is serious. And so I after I had this conversation with my friend, and because her husband and my husband are really good friends, they were actually patients of my husband before I even met him. They agreed to have a phone call with us. And in that phone call, they were able to share their story, being able to share the husband's perspective with Don D, being able to share the concerns that, she had. It's like, am I still going to be sexy? Are you still going to be, are you still going to be attracted to me? And those are really big questions,
and
guys.
Very real questions.
And big fears.
Yeah.
And so having that experience, being able to have that conversation, I think you were empowered with that conversation.
It helped me know conclusively that it was the 100% right thing to do, which we already knew, but it gave me an extra layer of certainty. Having to talk with another man who went through it with his wife and what to expect. It was basically what our journey through this is going to look like. And it was very, very, very helpful. So yeah, thank you to both of them.
Yeah, most definitely. So over the past 2 months, I've been on an awareness journey. First, becoming aware that it's even a thing, that breast implant illness is a real thing.
Very real thing.
And that there is a path to healing. And it all starts with, first of all, becoming aware, becoming knowledgeable about why it's happening. There are so many amazing resources out there, guys. You need to know this information. If you're, someone that has had implants, I mean, I've had mine for over 21 years, guys. So, and I didn't feel like I had symptoms in probably the first decade.
Yeah.
But it was the beginning of the second decade is when I had my first the car accident that caused the need for all my surgeries that I've been blaming all these symptoms on. And so everybody, every woman, every husband that has a wife with implants, anybody that knows somebody that's looking to get implants, doesn't matter who they are. It's something that if you hear someone's looking into this, asking the simple question, hey, have you heard about breast implant illness? It could just get them start thinking, and then you could even provide them with some resources, which we're happy to offer you guys to be able to connect you with those resources that we found that have been so helpful in this journey. But I want to kind of share with you what's coming next. And that's question number 4, is what's next? What's next? So in many cases, not all cases, having breast implants removed, or it's called an explant surgery, relieves all the symptoms. Not all the time. Some of them, sometimes. All of them, hopefully. But even if my symptoms don't all just take care of themselves, I am going to be healthier. I'm not going to have the poison mine inside of me still functioning. I'm going to be removing it so that all of the work that we've been doing for a long time, being biohackers and living an activated life, is actually going to be propelling me forward in my wellness instead of just trying to maintain my wellness. Because guys, I've never been diagnosed with any autoimmune, thank God. But I know it's because of the protocols that we already have in place protecting my wellness. I cannot even imagine, and I don't even want to think about where I would be right now if I wasn't, because I know dear friends that haven't been on that same journey with me and where they're at now with their breast implant illness. And so I do have my explant surgery scheduled August 4th. So it's a long ways out. God willing, it will get moved forward. And I know he can do great things, with a cancellation or something happening. But I found an amazing surgeon that is going to be doing the work, because like Dondi said, this isn't a small surgery. This is going to be a 4 to 5 hour reconstructive surgery to where they will have to go in, because mine are under the muscle and they've been in there for so long that the capsules will more than likely be attached to my ribs. Yeah. And so it's a massive surgery. But I'm excited and I want it to come sooner than later, because I know that that's when my healing can truly start, is once I get these things out of me and I can start healing from that point. So I would covet your prayers. Absolutely. First, obviously the journey itself, the surgery to be moved up rapidly, and for full and complete healing in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. I ask from all of you. But guys, on top of that, we just want you guys to know that we're here for you too, because you will come across people that are experiencing these same types of things. And so we would actually like for you to be able to go and contact us on our website. It's dondiandmarcy.com. We would love to be able to provide you with any information on B.I.I that we have, not to mention what my biohacking regimen is, what we've been doing for detox. And we've been doing detox smoothies since July of last year, which I know they've been beneficial, but can you imagine what they're going to do for me after I get the poison, the detox, or the toxins out of my body? Or at least the producer of the toxins. Plus would like to be able to connect you with the Facebook group that we found, as well as the website that has all those resources on it. So any of that information, if you would like that, please contact us, dondiandmarcy.com. Just be specific about what you'd like to know, because there's so much. Please be specific about what you personally would like to get, and we will definitely get that over to you. And again, that's dondiandmarcy.com. Just reference episode 22 and then let us know specifically what information that you would like us to connect you with. And again, any of that could be, It could be the Facebook group. It could be the website, my biohacking regimen, even the recipe for the heavy metal detox that we've been doing, any of that kind of stuff. Would love to be able to provide that to you, even if you have questions. We're here for you, because we will love you right through it, just like we know that you're loving me right through it right now. So guys, thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to add in here?
Yeah. And for women that have had breast implants and you're not experiencing any symptoms, that's fantastic, because not all women who have breast implant illness actually have symptoms. But it would be worth maybe asking the doctor just to keep tabs of it. And now you're aware of something perhaps you weren't aware of before. But also, if you're thinking about getting implants, as of right now, there is no test that they can give you to see if you would be likely to have breast implant illness if you in fact got implants. So I hope that's coming. There's no pre-screening, if you will. There is no diagnosis for the breast implant illness condition, and as a result of it, there's no codes. And so it's an uphill battle for the patients, for the women that have implants that are experiencing the symptoms that we were talking about. It's an uphill battle for the doctors that are trying to help their patients in good and honestly, and really feeling frustration with them as well. Maybe this will help some of them, but also for the doctors that are firmly aware. They are the ones that are firmly aware are very outspoken, and they are doing their part to share this awareness. And so if you know anybody who has implants, please share this episode with them. Have them get in contact with us. We'd love to be able to help them, and we would truly, truly treasure your prayers as our journey as we go through this together. But thank you so much for tuning in today. We hope this was beneficial for you. Hopefully it opened up some awareness that maybe you previously didn't have, and hopefully we can save some lives in the process.
And I just want you guys to know, all of you women out there, is that you are absolutely beautiful and perfect the way that you are. The implants are not necessary, and they are not going to make you any more valuable or lovable. But what they will do is they will open you up to a lot of pain and illness down the road. And even if you have implants and aren't experiencing symptoms, just know that what you have inside your body is foreign, and your body will eventually want to take it out. So be kind to yourself. Just know that you are enough just the way God created you. So I love you. God loves you. And we are so, so grateful that you joined us on this very personal episode number 22, all about B.I.I. Thank you guys so much for being here. Love you so much. Please share this information. Every woman needs to hear about it. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. God bless you.